County WCCS AM 1160 and 101.1 FM. And our conversation with Shirley Froggatt is brought to you by Marcus and Mack, a law firm representing injured people. And Shirley Froggatt, everybody knows Shirley Froggatt around Indiana. Shirley, good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to have you with us here today.
It's nice to be alive.
Oh.
I love Indiana, and I love being alive, and I love people.
Oh, well, that's so wonderful. And we know that about you because we know you very well. And from a number of different ways, in a number of different ways. Of course, Jack has known you for years.
And I've eaten lunch. Dawn Owens and I had lunch with Sandy Lear and Jack.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I've known you for years. Jack has known you for years. You have known WDAD radio for many years. In fact, right from the very beginning.
Right.
Yeah. You were listening when WDAD signed on way back 75 years ago. Tell me about that day.
Well, we had a G.C. Murphy's. Every little town had a G.C. Murphy's. And I went in G.C. Murphy's, and I was just a poor girl.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of looked at those nuts. They weren't the straight kind.
Uh-huh.
They were the, if you name them out.
The little Spanish peanuts they used to sell? No. Not those ones?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, you like the various nuts that they had for sale. Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they came on the radio.
Uh-huh.
And I was standing at the peanut counter. It said $14.50 on your radio dial.
And that was the very first sign-on for WDAD.
And
Wow.
I was either in 7th grade or 8th grade.
Wow. And that was, of course, as we said, we're starting the 75th anniversary celebration of WDAD.
And it was on the Kunkel property that the radio station was first Kunkel filled, because Bob Kunkel, it was his uncle that had the station.
Oh, okay.
Or the field, and he said, and Bob, we used to go up to the Ala Vista Dairy where John D. had his.
Yeah. That's just over there on the other end of town, on the
and we
east
used
end.
to go there every Sunday and get ice cream cones. And John and Bob said, well, that's my uncle's property that has the radio station. And he said, it's as big as a phone booth.
Well, it's a little bit bigger now.
And it's bigger now.
It is. It's bigger now. So you were there in G.C. Murphy. And G.C. Murphy had WDAD on the air when they first signed on, so you got to hear that. And how long before you got a radio in that, or maybe you already had one in the house where you could tune in 1450?
No, I didn't.
You didn't have one in the house at the time?
You know, we had parties. People didn't even take their shoes off. Kids didn't at that time.
Yeah.
I was just telling Dee about my dad.
Yeah.
And she wondered how I got to Indiana. And I first started my school year in Weskataning. Because my dad was a manager of A&P in where I was born in Shadyside.
Now, you were telling me as well that you knew the Renda family and actually graduated with one of the Renda boys.
I graduated with Frank Renda. And they lived on Grant Street, I think. And my mother used to buy peaches from them on 5th Street.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, at the grocery store. Yeah, those wonderful memories. Indiana was a different town back then, wasn't it?
Yes. We kids roller skated on the street, played hopscotch, played jacks.
Yeah.
There was no computer.
No computer. You told me earlier, too, that on D-Day, you found out about that. You were at a street dance right out in front of our current location.
Yes. I started going to Teenage Club, which was on 9th Street. It faced Owens Market. And the side of Owens Market.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for Jesse Lubold, we wouldn't have had a teenage club. And he was the principal of the high school.
Oh, okay.
My sister was his secretary. That didn't have anything to do with him starting
The Teenage Club.
Teenage Club.
Yeah. Yeah, but you were there at that, and so you remember many of the things about WDAD all the way back in 1945, 46, all the way through that whole wonderful period.
And we used to walk up alone at night, walk down from Teenage Club, and they had a whistle at 10:15.
Oh, yeah? That was curfew whistle?
And we'd walk home alone. And if I'd see a police car, I'd stand behind a tree.
Oh, Shirley, for many, many years, you have been a great friend of the ministry of the Christian Witness as well with J.D. Farner.
Yes, and John D., when he was a senior in high school, he went to school in the morning and worked at Troutman's in the afternoon. My husband... He worked with my husband, and a couple times my husband brought him home for dinner.
Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah. That guy can eat, you know.
But he was just a kid then.
Yeah, he was just a skinny little kid then. Well, it's been wonderful to share some of these great memories with you.
I have right now I have an envelope. Let me get it for you.
Okay.
For Bill Otto's Turkey Fund.
For the Oldies Attic Turkey-thon that's coming up. We'll be sure to get that from you. Bill will
It's
appreciate
United
that.
Way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's tremendous to spend some time with you visiting today and talking about the old days of Indiana and the start of radio here in Indiana County.
Yep. And do you know that you had on a couple months ago a girl from New York? And she said, we are so lucky, and we are lucky. Sandy, my best friend and my cleaning lady, will tell you that everybody should listen to Indiana in the morning.
Oh, and go Sandy.
Yes.
Well, we appreciate
Sandy
that.
Ashbaugh, her father-in-law used to be the manager of the PNC Bank.
Oh, I see. Well, the connections are just amazing for the people of Indiana County, and it's good that Sandy is able to help you and be your best friend and take you places so that you can continue to be such a great part of this community.
I had a nice car.
Yeah.
I gave it to my daughter.
Shirley, thank you so much for coming
Thank
to
you.
visit with us. It's been a pleasure, and we look forward to continuing to talk with you and visit with you on other occasions as well. That's Shirley Froggatt from right here in Indiana, reminiscing about the day WDAD signed on the air.
Todd,
Yes.
I was going to tell you, I used to be a Gibson. I'm Shirley Gibson Froggatt.
Shirley Gibbs. Okay, we got it now. We'll refer to you in that way in the future. How's that? It is Indiana in the Morning, presented by First Commonwealth Bank, and it's the voice of Indiana County, WCCS, AM 1160 and 101.1 FM.